themselves so that way we can kick this off and people get to actually see who the stars are of this conversation today.
Okay, my name is Lynnette Frey. I am an instructor in manufacturing engineering technology at SCC, and I have a few students here with me. I'm going to pan over to Olivia first.
Hi, I'm Olivia Swanson. I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska, and I went to Lincoln East High School and I graduated in May.
And I'm Roberto Navas. I am 18 and I came from Grand Senior High.
Hello, I'm Adam Minch. I'm originally from Gearing, Nebraska, and I'll graduate from SCC here in May.
My name is Adam Treffer. This is my first year here at SCC. I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska.
That leaves you, Lynnette.
Well, I did introduce myself at the beginning, but I'll say it again. My name is Lynnette Frey. I'm actually also a graduate of SCC, and I've been teaching since 2005, originally on the Lincoln campus. Now I'm on the Milford campus for manufacturing engineering technology.
Awesome. So we basically have a dream team of the next generation of manufacturers. So the first question I have, and I do want to remind everyone, I know we started a little bit late, but if you have questions and you want to ask them, please put them in the chat window through LinkedIn, and then we'll go ahead and answer those as we fit in our conversation. But my first question for each one of you is, why manufacturing? So can you explain why you want to get into manufacturing? What brought you into manufacturing engineering?
Do you want to go first, Adam?
For me, it was, I worked in a couple of different industries. Like after high school, I started in like the restaurant. And from there, I worked in landscaping. Here in Nebraska, we have all seasons. So it just so happened that I went to work at Kawasaki over the winter, and it just, it all made sense. I felt comfortable. So that's the first taste of manufacturing I got, and just been there ever since. So.
Very cool. Do you want to share what you did at Kawasaki?
Oh yeah, I worked at the rail car, Kawasaki, running some like spot weld machines. They had a one-sided robot. It would spot weld like the frame to the outside sheet of the rail car. Did that for a while.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and the rail cars we were talking about in class are all going to New York, or are they going all over?
When I was there, they had they were going to New York for the like the public transportation.
Very cool.
And one of the things about the Kawasaki rail cars, which is pretty cool too, which I don't think a lot of people know, is for one, they're made in Nebraska, in the middle of the United States. But number two is the quality of engineering and design and manufacturing that happens at Kawasaki. The rail car actually has a longer life than a lot of its competitors. So that's why you see them go to places like New York City where they get used nonstop. So, it's a little bit of background because I've worked with a lot of people that have been out there, but, so like running the robotics and doing some of that stuff out there, like that's super duper cool. Thanks for sharing that, Adam.
Yes. And then Adam Minch.
I think I originally kind of got into manufacturing from an early start. Like I had a lot of interest in high school with some of the intro courses and engineering courses that were offered at my high school. And it just kind of always clicked. And then as I grew into it, as I was able to get an internship at TMCO, I always loved the pride in American manufacturing. And I just think there's a lot of pride in that industry and a lot of good people involved in it. So I've just loved it from day one.
Very cool. And TMCO does some really cool stuff as well. There's a video out on the Solidworks website that we showed a year ago, but yeah, I agree with that. And, gearing, Gearing has created some pretty good athletes over the years out there too in Western Nebraska, haven't they?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people know Danny Woodhead. He went through Shattern, so there's
And then to
there's
the
a lot.
pros.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's had a great career. So
Yeah, back in the day when we used to go wrestle kids out west, it was sort of unfair because I think all the kids in Western Nebraska got up and wrestled cattle before breakfast, so they were way stronger and tougher than anybody else. So thanks for sharing that. Let's.
So for me as a kid, I always liked the engineering side of things. I like to tear things apart, see how they clicked, how they worked. I was a destructive kid. So growing up, I always kept that same mentality. You know, I like how things work. And as soon as I got into high school, I was offered classes such as workshop, and I got to run some lathes and some they just offered a bunch of different classes. I got to weld, I got to do all sorts of things. And then my junior year of high school at Grand Island, we have a program called Career Pathway Institute where you can choose your own pathway and you can follow or pursue it. I chose the engineering one, and I was introduced to a lot of programs such as AutoCAD Inventor. And then that's when robotics started as well for me. And I just loved everything that I did there. So I talked to my teacher, and he introduced me to Southeast Community College. He said it was a great school for what I wanted to do. And here I am now.
Very cool.
You haven't stopped tearing anything apart though, have you?
Oh no, I'm still going.
Because I was gonna say, as I've gotten older, what I tear apart is just more expensive.
Yeah.
It doesn't ever stop.
Roberto's brother also won state or national? State in CNC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I feel like there's a business that's going to start when these two are both in business together someday.
Yeah. He's working for Dramco and Grand Island.
Yes. Very cool.
Okay. Okay.
I'd say my engineering interest started probably when I was really little. I always ever since I was little, I like to make things or do little projects. Like I do some projects for the state fair. And so I'd always try and think of different things to make and where we learned some inventor software. And then I also took advanced engineering architecture class where we learned some Revit software.
So the passion you pursue through CAD and design was more just your curiosity of how to put things together and all of that.
Yeah.
So the digital and the physical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of want to find a balance between designing but also making things and building. So.
Okay. So that we've had a couple questions come in. They're not really related to these things. It's more of people wanting to know how to use SolidWorks. I would push those people to SolidWorks Live, which we do. This discussion is a little bit more towards manufacturing and the actual taking our ideas and designs and then building them and processing them through that. So my next question for you is, what do you want to do when you're done at SCC Milford? What's your ideal thing that you're looking for? I know some of you are early in the stages of SCC. I know some of you are a little bit later. I know this is a tough question to ask because if you'd asked me when I was in your position at SCC, I'd have told you.
a lot too is Northwest, where even just a lack of population as well has kind of pushed them into the automation sector as well. So there's a lot of factors in today's industry that's pushing that direction. I want to go behind that. I want to go behind that.
So when you're talking automation, I just want to clarify for people because there's different levels of automation. More of the robotics and the automated components of processing. Again, since you're working at TMCO, I have a little bit of understanding of how they automate. But you're talking those levels of automations, like getting into helping the process be more streamlined to make the part and the components more efficiently. That's more of the realm that you're looking at, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, very cool. The other Adam?
Yeah, I don't really have, I'm still getting a taste of it right now, you know. From like work experience, I think I agree with Adam. I like the automation. I like to see, you know, how can you be the most efficient? You know, I don't necessarily want like the cookie cutter role, you know. I want to be able to do, you know, like jack of all trades, you know. I want to be able to do computer on the floor, you know, anything in between.
So sort of that hybrid position of like, I can do my software, get my ideas out, but then I actually want to go out and be part of building it, work with that team, not just pay-per-click type type job. Okay, very, very cool. And again, like the two answers you both give, I don't want to taint the other two answers, but the two answers you both give are really good, because I should mention everyone also that like the state of Nebraska, where all of these people are at, has the lowest unemployment rate in the country, and the #1 business is ag. So manufacturing is set in the lowest unemployment rate with the second biggest income in the state, behind ag. So there is, like, when you talk automation, you talk those rules, you talk the things where they're doing, there's a lot of people that are asked to do a lot of stuff. It is a little bit different than other places in the country or in the world. So with that said, I'll step back and let the other two folks answer.
Okay. So I have to agree with both Adams here. I love sitting down and working, but I also get very tired of doing the same thing over and over again. So I would like to get up, you know, go help people out, go see how they're doing. And like I mentioned earlier, my brother works at Tramco, and he isn't just on one machine all day. He's out doing a bunch of other things. And that's kind of how I would like to end up.
Okay.
I'm kind of the same way too. I want to design, but I also want to go back and like help with how it's being built, or see how it's being built, or if there's any problems. I want to be the one that like kind of knows or figures out how to solve problems. I want to learn how to do all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay. Which again, you know, good news for all of you is you picked the right field of engineering as manufacturing engineering, because we are generally the people that are in that hybrid role of, you know, helping take what happened in design, make the design actually turn into physical. So yay for all of you, you picked the right group. So Lynnette, where was your thought when you were their age to where we're at now, you know, along the journey?
That was a teacher faux pas, right? Sorry about that. As a student in their shoes, I had no idea where I wanted to go. I actually started as an architectural major, and at that time I was going to SEC in Lincoln, and it was a requirement that you took some mechanical classes. And I don't mean HVAC mechanical, I mean like our field, manufacturing mechanical. And I just fell in love. I actually fell in love with printed circuit board design. That was one of my favorite classes. Also consumer product design. Obviously, I eventually fell in love with Solidworks. At the time I was a student, they didn't have Solidworks. But then I started getting into Solidworks when I started teaching as well, and then 3D printing, and now I'm all in. Like, it's just so much fun. I just scroll through feeds and feeds of different manufacturing companies and what they're posting on social media, and I just can't get enough. So these guys make it so exciting because of their energy, and they bring that to class every day. So I couldn't not love it. It's just, their energy is so great, and I hope that you're getting that. But even in the classroom, like if I throw out an idea to them, they're like brainstorming and starting to come up with solutions and different roadblocks to those different solutions. And the other day, Olivia and I were up at the board, and we were up at the whiteboard, and she actually started at the whiteboard. We were working on a project as a team, and I had to go and help her because so many things were being, ideas were coming out, and I was like, oh my God, help you, like document all this. So they just have such good engineering brains, and they think of things that I didn't think of. And I think that that's what's so exciting too, is, we all come from different backgrounds, and all of our collective input and our experiences add to the quality of those solutions. And so that's why it's so exciting. I really truly love my job, especially because of all of these guys, and the ones who are not with us. I wish I could have the whole entire group with us. I also told Jacoby, who is a past graduate, that I would give her a shout out. So hi, Jacoby. But we've had some amazing students go through our program. Some are watching up in the classroom right now. Who's up there? Mara, Kyle, Samuel, Ty. So, I wish they could all be here, but I think you're getting a good sampling of their energy. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually impressed by all their answers, because I can tell you when I was there, I had no clue. So you guys are already way ahead of the curve.
Yes.
So there was a couple things. There was a couple things that you all touched on that I want to sort of do a follow-up question with. And if you all want to answer, that's great. If one of you wants to answer, that's cool. You guys pick how you want to do it. I would love to hear from all of you. You mentioned the balance of virtual and physical. So in that, traditionally, people sort of settle into more one side or the other side, or there's a few of us that get to be hybrid over time because we find the right company. I guess my question for you with the level of automation is, do you think that tools getting more of the AI in it to be a little bit productive on, like design to help you have more time in the real world to solve problems, do you think that would be a value to the position that you want to do? What do you think is going to be the biggest helper throughout your career to get the best balance between being in an office, designing things, coming up with the greatest idea, and then implementing that on the floor? Like, where do you see the technology being to allow you to do that? Because some tools aren't really built that way today, to be honest. So
who wants to take that one?
I can answer.
Okay.
Like you were saying, I think some of these automation tools are going to start to become a little bit more complex. So I think where we can come in is we'll have a higher understanding of how those automation tools interface with like their controls, whether it's a PLC or whether it's something above that. But just there's going to have to be a little bit of a higher understanding behind it. It's not necessarily as mechanical as it may have been previously. There's a lot more computer interfacing with these technologies. So having that higher understanding, being able to troubleshoot on the floor, but also being able to go back to the office and research a solution or talk with the team or stuff like that is going to be kind of, I think, a good middle ground for where we can fall in.
Okay. So like improved collaboration and communication between the different groups. And then, one of the things that, to be brutally honest, one of the things I've been toying with is offline programming for robotics, like setting up the cells and then doing all the offlines to take down to remove the downtime of actually running parts in the production area. You know, back in the old days, we used to do time studies with stopwatches. Believe it or not, that was a thing. That was also before Google, but that was a thing that we learned how to do. So I'm always intrigued by the digital aspect of that, of how to do that automation. But I was just curious, being on the flip side now. I hate to keep saying that I'm old, but I'm old compared to the group we're talking with. You know, do you guys think that there's a value in those types of things to allow you to have a little bit of understanding ahead of time before we go out and take something offline? Or do you think that those things are important in the future for automation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the goal is always have the least amount of downtime. So keeping production flowing while you can simulate stuff offline and program stuff offline is definitely critical.
Yeah. I actually want to add to that too. These students haven't gotten to experience it yet, but we were approved for an order of HoloLens devices, and I know I've talked to you about that before, Mike. But I just see such a huge potential for them to learn how to, you know, write a program to teach someone to do a specific job and have that onboarding process of new employees on the line be something that can be done with a HoloLens device. And so I'm so excited for them to start using those. And I just see such a huge potential for the different projects that they can do with those, and for us as educators to use them as a tool for the students in their education, but then have them go out and educate their team using the devices as well. So, and especially for those types of people, like you said, our students are really good at mixing the real world with the digital world, but that those augmented reality devices can help those people that don't have the ability to do that easily like these guys all do. So
yeah. And you know, that actually fits into my next question, which I would like everyone to answer. So what is it that you think we, as a group of people doing manufacturing, need to do to get more of your peers into this space? You know, like, I can sit here and hypothesize and read reports, but at the same time, like, your peers or your peers. So what do you think we need to do to be better to get people into the manufacturing space, make them aware of cool things like you guys are talking about, robotics and automation and this mix of hands and digital? And, you know, so I would like your thoughts on that, coming from some of you that have worked in manufacturing already, some of you that are getting into that space and meeting these people. So I'll be quiet and let you all speak with your thoughts. So just share whatever you feel.
You want to take that, or do you want me to start somewhere else? How would we get some of your colleagues recruited into this and excited about?
I mean, I really don't know. I mean, it's almost like it takes like a certain person to work in manufacturing, you know. I don't know if everybody finds that interest. And then sometimes I feel like it's, you know, I really don't know.
Okay.
Do you think it's awareness? Like, people don't know that there's cool things to do in manufacturing, or do you think it's?
Yeah, that too. I think it's almost like, how do you say it? Like, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
I'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. No worries.
Well, and with Adam's experience at Kawasaki, I always think, like, have any of you seen that process of them making real cars?
I haven't been inside.
Yeah, none of us have seen it. And I think that part of it is, you know, going on tours with these students to see the different things that are manufactured are so beneficial. And I can't stress that enough, like, especially for high schools. And right now that it's manufacturing month, for those high schools to participate in those different tours to see what it is, like you said, with some awareness, because we in class have Adam with us. We get to ask him about, you know, what he did at Kawasaki, and eventually we're going to tour there as well. But having those high schools tour, I think, is a key thing that can raise some awareness, like you said, and help people understand what it is that we do. Sorry, I didn't mean to step in. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, to add to that, it's just, I don't think they introduced enough people, you know, to manufacturing. You know, like when I was in high school, it's more like business or, you know, stuff like, you know, they don't really introduce you to the industry like that. So I guess, I don't know how people can get excited about it if they don't get that taste, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyone else?
Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. I think we're starting to come around the curve a little bit. When I was going to high school back in Gearing, we did have some engineering courses, but even just since I graduated in 2018, they've started to add more and more career pathways. So my brother, just a few years behind me, was able to do some of the manufacturing and automotive career pathway classes, and was actually able to do like a little bit of a part-time at a manufacturing facility back in Gearing, which was like kind of sponsored by the school, partnership with that manufacturing facility. So there's definitely starting to become a little bit more of an awareness. And I think even beyond just within education, but to the general public is another like area to focus on. I know that like MetalQuest oftentimes puts on their LinkedIn, you know, like they're trying to invite people in. They want as many people to come see their facility as possible. And I think that's a direction we need to go. Like annually, TMCO has Oktoberfest and stuff like that, just where the public's invited to come see their facility. You know, generally, like in the past, you know, like you were saying, manufacturing facilities are kind of looked at as like under lock and key, or like, you know, like you're like no one's really allowed inside type thing. And some of that's probably to protect intellectual property a little bit, but I think just more and more awareness to the public and making it an inviting space is the way to go.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
To add on to what Adam was saying, people are scared of taking the chance to come and explore what manufacturing engineering has to offer. I know that when I heard that name, I was like, whoa, I don't know what this is. But on the other hand, I was also like, I would like to learn about it, you know, and I don't think people I don't want to say they're not brave, but I don't think they have they're curious enough to see what manufacturing engineering is all about.
Yeah, it's definitely not the safe choice you bring up at Thanksgiving dinner versus, oh, I want to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize how many things like in their everyday life has to be made or manufactured in some way. Like everyone has a set of like needle nose pliers in their house or scissors, and all of those things had to be made some way. And I don't think people really think of it that way. They kind of just are like, oh, I have this for this, you know, like I have pliers so I can use them, you know, but they don't think of how the pliers were made in the beginning, or that, you know, people don't really think about how things are made, I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
I could agree more with that. I mean, we wouldn't be having this video conference call if it wasn't for manufacturing to make the TVs and the internet, the fiber and everything else that all comes from, you know, in entrepreneurs creating an invention that creates this that then goes to manufacturing that then we consume. In my opinion, we have shifted to be a little bit more of consumers versus producers. And that leads to a lot of the, yeah, I don't know, Amazon delivers it, great. We don't think about all the logistics that happened that had to be manufactured for that thing to get here in 12 hours. So I can agree with you more. And, you know, you mentioned what's always surprising to me when I talk to a lot of people is there's an enormous amount of manufacturing in what I call the Midwest, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, South Dakota. You get into Wyoming that make these world-class products that nobody ever knows where it comes from, right? You know, you mentioned pliers. The original vice grip was in DeWitt, you know, 20 minutes from where you guys live. It's now Equal, I think. They just started up. You have Hornady bullets. You have, you know, agricultural equipment, you have TMCO, you have Metal Quest, you have some of these world-class leaders in manufacturing sitting out in the middle of a cornfield, essentially. Some are downtown Lincoln, but in the middle of a cornfield overall for the massive population. That all of these things are being done at a very high level in a place that most people fly over, right? And then so local areas that support them oftentimes don't support it from a community side. You know, you mentioned TMCO and Oktoberfest. That is an amazing event, by the way. If you ever get a chance to go, that is cool. You have Metal Quest that does a lot of their focus on students and bringing people in. But you know, those are 2 companies out of several thousand in the state of Nebraska. You know, so to me, what you've all echoed makes sense to me. But again, I also lead a lot of reports around that. But I do think, to summarize a lot of what you talked about, is we do need to make that awareness. We do need to bring more people in. You know, most of the trailers that are built to build any roads or construction, they're all built in Nebraska and Iowa. There's like 80 trailer manufacturers. You can't drive down through a construction site without seeing a trailer that was made in the Midwest. And Jet, as an example, Jetco started building wire winders in the 50s, and then they transitioned to, they make world-class industrial trailers now. So they've evolved over time with that. But most people drive by and see a Jet trailer and are like, whatever. You see a Timty trailer, yeah, whatever. But you don't think about all of the stuff that does to support a community, right? Because both of those places are in smaller communities. So again, that's my thought and summary on what you said. I do appreciate your insight into that. The next question I have is, do any of you want to own a business someday? Do you want to have your own business at some point, or do you just want to go find a good place to work for and, you know, be cool that way? Because we need all types. I'm just sort of curious the mindset of like, did you get into manufacturing engineering to get your foot in the door to eventually run your own business? Or is that too far down the road?
I mean, honestly, no, I haven't really thought about it too much, but I mean, at this point, I really don't have any interest in, like, I guess, going full-blown business owner, but that's not something I guess I've put too much thought into, but
okay,
we'll see where the road takes me, I guess.
Okay.
I'm sorry. For me.
Oh no. Sorry.
For me, the thought has come into my head a few times, but like Adam said, I haven't put too much thought into it. I want to go out into the industry and see what it's all about first before deciding, hey, you know, this is something I could do and do it better.
Okay.
I guess I've kind of thought about it, which obviously it takes a lot of like work and everything, but I mean, since I was little, I've always kind of like made my own things and sold them. When I was little, I used to do that. Like I'd grow pumpkins or I'd make like crafts or something. So, I mean, I guess I'm not ruling it out, but I'm also not setting my mind on like I'm going to have my own business because I don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, it's a possibility, but it obviously takes a lot of work. So I'd have to commit to it if I did decide. So.
Very cool.
Okay.
And have you owning your own business?
I mean, I pondered it, you know, time to time, but it's not, I mean, I can't say that's what I'm going to do, but, you know, if I happen to think of something real cool, I'm gonna go for it, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep. Okay.
You have a
Okay.
bunch of colleagues that'll help
Oh,
you.
yeah. I'll call them too.
Yeah. So I mean, there's entrepreneurial spirit in those all of those answers. So I'm just always curious to see, because being a person that went to Milford, a lot of the peers that I went to school with are now pretty high up in companies or managing or in that level, and have pretty amazing skill sets that go along. You know, we talked about that offline, some of the tours that you guys are going to visit, like the network's pretty big, of former manufacturing engineering grads from SCC. Some of the companies we already talked about with Hornady and places like that. So, it's just always curious to me, because a lot of the companies that popped up, like the Metal Quests and the TMCO and like those, found a niche, and then they sort of grew their business, and they're now leaders in the areas that they're in, just because they had that idea, took the chance, and now they do an amazing job for the communities that they live in. So,
Yeah.
so the next question is going to be, I think, a little bit easier for everybody. What do you like about design?
Design or like CAD design?
Well, CAD's part of design, obviously, but I mean, what is it that you like about it?
For me, it's just, like the thought, being able to put the thought, and then just translating that into, the actual product. If I sit here and think about something, I want to be able to know how to design it and, have the finished product.
Okay.
That's what
so
it
the
is.
concept to something that's tangible.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think working off of that, I agree. Like concept to completion, which is like one of like TMCO's like big kind of cornerstones, is like the whole concept to completion. But just as a whole, like from a design aspect, you're trying to solve a problem, and then seeing that all the way through is really nice. And then just with the way technology is going, there's less and less limitations to design, as like laser, like 3D laser sintering printers become more and more of a thing. Like there's more and more possibilities to really making anything.
So going off of what both Adams said, being able to see a problem and then thinking of a solution, and then putting in your possible solution into a program and running it to see if it would work. It's something that amazes me. It's nice to see how far technology has come.
Okay.
I think I just like to, I guess I like to visualize things a lot, and kind of, I like to be able to make, like, you can make whatever you want with design, like online design. So I think that's cool too, because if you can think of it and you can design it, then you can make it. So.
Okay. Those are all really, really solid answers, by the way. The whole point of CAD and design is to take your thoughts and ideas and refine them, and then be able to communicate with someone else, right? I mean, that's the whole point of CAD. Again, going back to the old days, that was the point of us doing board drafting in Vellum and going down to architecture and blue lining. But it's a lot easier these days than back then, a lot faster, and a lot more iterative. But the interesting thing that what you all said there is using design as the tool to get to the finished product, which again, congratulations for being in the right group of manufacturing engineering, because that's the whole goal of that discipline of engineering. So again, Lynnette has done a good job of making sure she got the right people in the right spot. Yay, Lynnette. So I guess my next question is, when you think about the future of making, and Adam mentioned a little bit with metal printing. Like every time you watch Nebraska football, you see the University of Nebraska with the Matsura Lumex, right? And you see they talk about biodegradable inserts for hips, and they're using the Lumex to try to do that. You know, that is one really cool machine, by the way. I got to see him up at the Matsura USA place. But when you talk about that, and you talk about the design, and you talk about the future of what it is you're going to do, you know, where do you see it going, I guess, in your career lifespan? You know, like, do you think it'll be hybrid, additive and subtractive? Do you think that there'll be some new technology out there that will just completely change how everything's going to happen? You know, what do you see when you look at manufacturing today versus where you think it's going to go?
Sorry.
No, I definitely don't see subtractive manufacturing going away in my lifetime, but I think over time we'll refine additive manufacturing a little bit more, at least from what I've seen with like laser 3D sintering type stuff. Like, it's not really quite to a production standpoint yet. You know, it's still something that some places are trying to implement or look into or consider investing in, but it isn't really like a cornerstone of a manufacturing process yet, and at least in most places. But like especially like at like TMCO, where I feel like a lot of our bread and butter is like sheet metal parts and sheet metal bending. So there's no reason to turn that into like an additive process. Stuff like that's going to stick around for sure.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts?
Nobody thinks it's going to be like Iron Man designing right in front of you.
So
I feel like that's going to be, right? Yeah. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
You could pull it off, Adam, for sure.
I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, there's no telling what will, you know, what new processes will come about, or technology. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's up in the air.
Right.
Really.
Right. Because Mike, if you and I think about back to what it was when we were their age, you know, it's totally different now. I don't know that I could have thought of it just like some of them are saying, like 20 years down the line, what is it going to look like?
Yeah.
It's going to be cool.
It's going to be really cool.
Might be on SolidWorks and, you know, design something and simultaneously it's being made.
Yes, there you go.
You know?
There you go.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah, I can tell you, like, that Lumex machine, I really dig that technology because it's got a 30,000 RPM spindle on it while it prints. So you can print so far, stop, and then machine the inside and then go back to printing. Like, when I see that, I'm like, that is awesome. You talk about taking away fixtures and that kind of stuff, you know. And to Adam's point, also the other Adam, to his point,
if you wear
is,
glasses or contacts,
you know, when you look at AI and you look at automation, you know, you start thinking about, as I design this, if I have all of the things that
I worked in a
required
family business
for
as a
it as I
contractor.
design it,
And
what
I
would
saw
stop me
drywall
from
prices and
automating
material
the
prices
programming
fluctuating
side of it, right?
dramatically.
To then I can
And I
kick
thought
off
that
a
I could
robot
start a
to go
company
load
and
apart
take
and start
advantage of
doing what
that.
I need
And
to do. You know, you start thinking about some of that automation, you know, and it's really cool. And there are people out there that create amazing algorithms, sometimes for good, not always for bad, like, you know, social media. They can be done for good too. But you know, to me, that's the exciting part about being on the manufacturing side is like you said, Adam, the sky is sort of the limit on where we're going to be in 10, 15 years from now. So have all of the students taken sheet metal yet?
Actually, no. Adam's the one that's in Solidworks right now, and he will be doing. Are you talking about Solidworks sheet metal or just?
Yeah, I'm just talking sheet metal in general.
So we don't have a break here. We do we do go to the Lincoln campus for the plasma machine. We are getting a water jet, the Wazer water jet that you showcased at one of these Solidworks Worlds. And so they will get some introduction to flat stock. We just, I don't know, there's not a break downstairs, is there?
I don't think so.
I haven't seen, I snoop around sometimes and I haven't seen one. Again, I've only been here for a year now on this campus. So they get as much as they can with the tools in SolidWorks. So we really do it virtually at this point.
So my question then may not hit, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Are you K-factor people or bend allowance people? What's your favorite go-to?
Yeah, so they haven't gone to it yet. We do both. We will do both.
So just pay attention to that one. That one's really important for your future career. Bend allowance, bend deduction, K-factor. My tip to all of you is know it and love it, even if you hate it.
Right.
So just trust me. That one has gotten me a long ways in my career, is understanding that. So their material properties class, are they doing that right now, Lynnette?
The freshmen are right now. Adam Minch has done it last semester.
Okay. So what was your favorite thing about material properties to this point? What's your favorite material? I guess I should ask it that way. What's your favorite medium to design and manufacture with?
I'll do.
Okay.
That's kind of a tough one, but Lynnette had a couple assignments where she wanted us to go find different materials or find different material data sheets, basically. And it kind of stemmed from some videos from like Titans of CNC, where they're doing crazy aerospace stuff. So I went and found like the actual material data sheets for like Inconel and some of those proprietary alloys. So that was kind of cool to see the actual properties comparatively to, I guess, more relatively normal steels or like tool steels and stuff like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, the other students haven't gotten to that point yet. Yeah, I know. They're like, wait, we haven't got to do that yet. What's up, Lynnette? Sorry. They're still learning a little bit about the chemistry and the sort of dry stuff on that. We covered annealing a little bit. They got to see the annealing process at Hornady when we went there. So we're getting into the fun part. I promise.
Fair enough. No. These are some of the questions I'm asking are a little bit loaded, so no worries. They'll all go through it. I mean, those are just, highlights of things that you will learn that will serve you well throughout your career. So we're getting to the end of our time here. So my last question is more of your closing thought, I guess, of what do you want to see from a manufacturer that you would go work for? What's the top 2 things that are important to you for a manufacturer that you go work with after you're done with school? I know some of you are early, but there are definitely things that would be important to you to enter into an agreement to work for somebody. What would those 2 things be?
You want to start, Adam?
Yeah, for me, I guess if you would call it like job freedom, I want to be able to do my thing. I don't want someone necessarily like breathing down my neck while I'm trying to think stuff through. That, and then, just like job security, pay, benefit package, all that important.
Yeah. Okay. It's a great answer, by the way.
Yes. Yeah.
I definitely think like a strong focus on value in their employees. You definitely see kind of a broad range of how happy people are to go to work, and I want to work somewhere where everyone's happy to pull up in the morning and has a smile on their face. You know, a place that people are a, a place that people would like want to recommend, you know, like their friend to work at type place, you know, like not like, oh, don't work here, but hey, everyone, like this place is awesome. So that type of environment, and just along with, like I said earlier, a place that is, I think, really aware of the trends of kind of where manufacturing is going in this country. So a place that's pushing automation in different forms and stuff like that, I think is important to me as well.
Okay, great answer.
So going off of what Adam said, again, I want a place that is pushing for innovation, you know, seeing what can be done better and faster. And then I also want just a place where they are flexible. Like say you're working on a project, as long as you get it done before the deadline, you know, they'll be good with you and have no problems.
Okay, it's a little more project based versus you just have to put in 40 hours to put in 40 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had an interesting conversation with a person yesterday about that, just on a side note. So I'm glad that you actually mentioned that.
I want to work somewhere where everyone's kind of like friends, everyone's friendly, everyone has a good attitude, kind of like what they were saying, they want to come to work. Also, I'd say I want to work somewhere that like you have your specific role, but that doesn't mean you have to only do that role. You could go and help other departments or learn about the other departments, or even like kind of working with the designing as well as like hands-on experience. I don't want to just be one or the other. I want to have like two, like I still want to have one role, but obviously be able to do other roles as well. So
be able to collaborate and communicate to have a common goal for the company versus just stay in your lane, do your thing, don't ask any questions.
Yeah.
So Mike, are people asking for their resumes now that you're seeing all of these great students?
Not yet, but if you do want to hire any of these folks, you can reach out to SEC and contact Lynnette, and she has a lot of great students coming through there, and these four definitely represent SEC Milford very, very well. So with that, I can't thank you all enough for jumping on today. I know it was a little odd with, you know, 4 people crammed in real tight, but I do appreciate it. If anyone does have any follow-up questions or wants to reach out to Lynnette, what's the easiest way to get a hold of you, Lynnette?
The easiest way is probably my email, which is just lfrey, so it's LFREY @southeast.edu. And again, you know, if you have internships over the summer for the freshmen, they're always looking for internships. And again, jobs for the sophomores. I don't think that any of them are going to have a problem getting a job, but we do have the best students, in my opinion, and such great attitudes that are coming through. I feel so lucky to have, I feel like, the best students. I don't know how other teachers are doing it, because they must be getting all the bad students, because I'm getting all the good ones.
Well, and the manufacturing engineering department's always looking for corporate sponsors too, right? To be able to help partner to bring in more technology, like the HoloLenses and the Wazer water jet, and, you know, maybe some robots. That would be cool.
Yes.
Yes. So
you didn't see all these guys' face light up when you said that. We need to update our robots. That would be one thing that would be a fantastic partnership with industry. And I think SEC is doing a really great job of partnering with different industries right now. For example, in our diesel tech program, they partnered with Creek Carrier, and Creek Carrier is right on the outside of the building. So there are those opportunities for industry to partner with education. And when that happens, the students build a connection with that company, they build familiarity with that company, and it makes it a good partnership for both the school and the company.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. So with that, I want to thank everyone one last time. Again, if you have questions, follow up, please reach out to Lynnette if you want to talk about SCC. If you want to reach out to anyone at Solidworks, please feel free to contact me. So with that said, thank you everybody. Have a great day, and we'll catch you next month.